Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And today, we've got another combo that we haven't tried out here today, and it's one that one of you guys wanted to see. So I'm definitely curious how it performs because it has the chance to do pretty well. But these are a cheaper, more budget-oriented shell, so they may not do as well as what we hope they do. I don't know, we're just gonna have to test it and see what happens. But as for the shell we've got here today, I brought out some of the Winchester Double X loads. These ones are a 12 gauge, 3-inch, 1 3/4 ounce payload of number 4 shot, moving about 1,300 feet per second. And this is Winchester's kind of mid-tier lead shell. I think these are somewhere between $16 and $18 a box. So not quite longbeard expensive, but not quite as cheap as the Super X shells. And from our testing, they've done decently well. Plenty good enough to get you turkeys with, but not longbeard type of performance either. So how can they do through today's combination? I'm thinking they should do pretty decently, but we just don't know until we try it. But as for the setup we've got out here today to run them through, I brought out the Remington 1187 here with this choke, which is the Avian-X Crusher 665 constriction turkey choke. And this Avian-X has done very well with a lot of loads on the channel. So I expect this combination to at least give us a usable turkey pattern. Anything above that is just a bonus. So I'm definitely excited to see what the Avian-X is able to do with these cheaper Double X shells. But as for the test today, everything's the same as usual. Turkey target is set up at 40 yards. I've got the chronograph so we can get our velocity as well. So we'll get you guys a view of the target, take the shot, look at the chrono, and then look at our results. I hope these do pretty decently for us, but let's go over here and take the shot and just see what kind of a pattern it's actually able to give us. Okay, so that shell gave us 1268 through the chrono. The box does claim 1300, so we are a little bit below that, but still 1268 is pretty much right where I think these shells should be flying at, mid 1200s. So definitely nothing out of the ordinary up here as far as velocity goes. I think it's pretty much right where we should be. But how did it actually perform down there at 40 yards? Let's go take a look and see what we actually got. All right, now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. And I gotta say, I am rather impressed. For a $16-ish box of shells and being lead 4s at that, that is a really good pattern for what those shells actually are. I can't complain about that whatsoever. We have a beautifully even central core area of our pattern here. There's nowhere in that whole entire turkey paper down there that bird can move to and get away from you. And with lead 4s, you're gonna be carrying a good amount of energy. And we have a pretty concise overall pattern right there. It's not much larger than the actual turkey paper itself. Now we do see a couple little strings and flyers around the edges here, which is not too surprising considering these are a lead shell and a cheap lead shell at that. But still, that pattern right there looks really good for what these shells are. There's really not a whole lot to complain about with that. And now, I kind of want to test the Double X 5s and maybe even the Super X shells through that Avian-X 665 to see what happens. Because clearly, the Double X 4s here really like that. I think that might be the best pattern we've seen out of a Double X shell. The Double X shells have been a pretty decent option for a cheap shell, but man, that is just really good looking overall here. I would not be scared in the slightest to hunt with that kind of a pattern. It gives you a decent amount of leeway while still being plenty tight enough to reach out to 40 yards. And with a pattern like that, and with them being lead 4s, you could probably push that out to 50 pretty easily, I would think. So I'd say that whoever suggested that we try that combination definitely was on to something right there, because that combination clearly worked out really well for us. So although these might not still be quite into the realm of longbeard patterns, that is a very solid, very reliable hunting pattern right there for a lead 4. So really, not any complaints from me on that one. Looks really good for what they are, and I wouldn't be scared to use that in the slightest, that's for sure. Okay, and here's the wad from that shell, and as you can see, it is just your typical Winchester Longgrid XR style wad. It's the same thing, and it looks very much how I would expect it to look. You have a couple little pinholes along here, but these are lead 4s, so that's not at all uncommon. As you can see, if we get it in the light, those stripes down the side of the wad, those are from the straight rifling grooves that Avian-X has in it, but that does tell us that this wad was flying straight as it exited the barrel and not twisting in any weird way. So that's always a good thing. There's nothing stuck down in there, no major rips or tears. Looks very much like I would expect it to, and nothing too special to see here. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that pattern right there? That's definitely impressive for what these shells are. A cheap, budget-oriented, 16-ish dollar a box lead number 4 shell. That's a pattern I would use all day long. And you could absolutely reach out a little bit farther to 45 or 50 yards as well with that kind of a pattern. If you were hunting fields or something, that would absolutely get the job done for you. So overall, definitely pretty impressive results. And although I was expecting to see decent results, that is actually better than what I was kind of hoping to see. So no complaints from me out of that one, that's for sure. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little bit surprised one way or the other? Have you tested these Double X4s through that Avian-X? And if so, what has been your results with them? And would you hunt with a pattern like that or a shell like that? Let me know all that down below. But definitely, I'm pretty surprised by that. And we can't really argue with that kind of a pattern for a lead 4. So it looks pretty good to me. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys. So I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it. So I'll see y'all in the next one.